Everyone, welcome to Popcast on the Rocks, episode 205. We are back finally, full regular episode. It's the podcast where we talk about pop culture things that interest us. Sometimes there's whiskey, and tonight's gonna be a fun one. And my name is John. I'm joined as always by Andrea to talk about two shows tonight.
Yes. So blessed to be
Double,
talking about two amazing shows.
mhm, double whammy. We can't keep up. Two very different shows. Different
Yes.
mediums, yeah. So, what are those shows? Well, if you clicked on it, you probably know, but House of the Dragon, Hot D, and X-Men 97, season 2. So, season 3 of the former, season 2 of the latter.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and they're both kind of, we're through episode 3 now of House of the Dragon. That's what we're talking about, and then we're through episode 4 of X-Men. So we're kind of right
Yes.
in there in the thick of it. And we covered the first two episodes of House of the Dragon on our just Popcast live show. So pretty similar to this, but a little different behind the scenes workings. And then um, we don't do the extra stuff up top. We don't do any of the drink holidays, the sort of thing like that. But because it's an important thing, important segment, it's on YouTube under the House of the Dragon spoiler casts, and it went up to podcast feeds.
Mhm.
So there it is. Make sure you go back and listen if you're interested.
Yeah, I thought we had a really great discussion of the first 2 episodes. A lot happened, and we had a lot to say about it, so definitely check it out.
Yeah. Yes. Well, let's get things going. Just everybody, we're live on multiple places, so jump in the chat anywhere you like. YouTube, X, Twitch, Rumble, and follow, subscribe, all that sort of thing. Share it
Mhm.
out. Contribute to the conversation. Andrea, let's converse about drinks and what we should be consuming along with our awesome shows here.
Yeah, well, we are, I mean, obviously deep into the summer, whether you like it or not, whether you're ready or not, whether you can believe it or not, any of the above. I can't, but we're deep into the summertime. So that means, of course, summery types of drinks. Think fruity, think light, think blended. And we have a sampling, a smattering of all of those in our upcoming drink holidays, starting with tomorrow's. It's Pina Colada Day tomorrow, July 10th, followed immediately by a double holiday on the 11th, which is Mojito Day and National Rum Day. If you are perchance, imbibing a bit too much on either of these upcoming holidays, then July 12th, the Sunday, is the holiday for you. Michelada Day or Michelada Day. I never know how to pronounce it. Every year it comes up, and I think I'm going to look it up,
I mean,
and I
I've
don't.
heard Michelada, but that's
So
maybe just like gringo speak. I don't know.
it's true. I mean, we could totally be butchering this, but I'm giving it my best
Mhm.
shot. But yeah, Sunday, that's the day. That's more of a recovery drink, like a, Bloody Mary. So,
Sure.
if you've over imbibed, but you need a little hair of the dog, that's the day for you. Then you get a brief break and jump back immediately into a double holiday, again related. July 14th, it is Bastille Day, but it is also National Grand Marnier Day. And as I think we're both learning, Grand Marnier is a little more versatile. We can add it to a lot of different stuff. We had those G&Ts with a little Grand Marnier, and that was quite delicious. So
Mhm.
even though that's not a drink holiday, I highly recommend. And then to cap it off, Friday, July 19th, or no, excuse me, Sunday, July 19th. There we go. I can remember days. It's Daiquiri Day.
Um, Monday. No. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Sunday.
Right?
You're right.
I know. I was like, "Oh man, I'm losing it a little bit," but no, I'm pretty
No,
sure it's a
very
Sunday.
good. Well, a lot of those drinks sound good. Do you have any of those in front of you tonight?
I do. I have a variation on one of them. It's our very first one, that's being celebrated tomorrow, Pina Colada
Oh,
Day. I was in the mood for something a little fun and fruity, but I'm not much of a rum person. So I substituted the rum for bourbon in what is apparently known as a cowboy colada. So
oh,
cheers to that.
okay. That sounds good. I've never made a
Very good.
pina
Very
colada
good.
or a cowboy colada. Hmm.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
One of the basics I had to
yeah,
learn in bartending school.
sure. Yeah. Well, I'm just I guess my drink feels, summery, mojito inspired.
Yeah.
So I have watermelon around,
Ooh.
got a lot of watermelon. So I've got
Awesome.
watermelon pieces with watermelon juice and tequila. I would have put mint in here if I had mint, but I don't. And I was gonna just do like traditional cocktail elements, so you'd have a sweet component, that'd be my watermelon juice. Then you'd have your liquor and then
Mhm.
your soda. So it'd be like a club soda. But I
Right.
instead I have some of these around these Ollipops.
Oh, yeah, sure. I've
So
had those
I have a
recently.
tropical punch Ollipop. That's my carbonation top up in this drink. So
And how
yeah.
is your drink?
Mm, very refreshing.
Well, cheers.
Very
We both have
refreshing.
very summery fruits based
Yes.
drinks.
Salud. All right. I also had to show you my sweet coaster. I got my
Yeah,
Game of Thrones coasters yet.
ours is the Fury.
Yes. Yep. So,
Ah,
yeah.
House Baratheon.
And per our discussion at the end of
Mhm.
last week's podcast live episode,
Yeah.
yes, it's for you, Andrea. Let's see what we got in here. Ashley also brought up like um, the Tyrells. I do not have a Tyrell coaster, but I do have
Yeah.
Targaryen. I do have
Baratheon.
Stark
Of
and
course.
Lannister.
I mean,
So
everybody's got to, I think most people anyway would identify with the Starks somewhat because they're clearly like our heroes. So you want to
right.
see yourself in like the hero family. So,
Yep.
but yeah, I love the Tyrells. They're witty and clever and just a barrel of fun. Good
Yep.
big personalities.
Yep. Well, yeah, there's plenty of big personalities throughout Game of Thrones. There's big
Yeah.
personalities in X-Men that we're going to be covering. Have you had any other shows with big personalities? You got your Castle Impossible. Is that like a
Yes.
are they
I
pretty out
freaking love
there?
that
Or is it
show.
chill?
I love that show. It's so they are I think probably for the area that they're in, they're big personalities, but when you look at them in the lineup of TV personalities,
Right.
they're relatively, average everyday folks who are just like, well, we kind of got this cool thing going on. We stumbled into a show. We better do our thing and be cute, but also maybe amp up our personalities just a little bit for
Sure.
TV. So, yeah, they're fun though. I mean, the past couple of episodes I think have been particularly interesting in terms of like they uh in fitting talking about House of the Dragon, they turn their dungeon room into a medieval tavern and it is
Mm.
killer. Chris and I are already like, well, if we ever go to France, we have to go here. It is
Hmm.
so freaking sweet. So that was a really fun, like, big part of the episode. They are also getting ready to have a baby. So that's been like a fun challenge, like complete this, crumbling castle renovation before we have a baby. Um, and then they also have another couple that kind of does a similar show in their own chateau. They had them come visit and give them some tips, and they were some big personalities.
Okay.
Um, so that was fun episode. But yeah, that's
Nice.
the
I
only
thought you
thing
were
that
going to
really
say you and
been
Chris were starting to talk about like how you're going to turn your dungeon into a medieval tavern.
Don't talk about our dungeon, John. Shh.
Oh yeah. Shoot.
Yeah, right. I mean, if we had any sort of such space, Chris would do it in a second. He was all over that renovation. He was so excited about it. And they went to
Very
like a
nice.
cute little, Renaissance fair over there, which is definitely similar but different elements to our own beloved Renfest.
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, that would be interesting
Mhm.
to
It was.
experience.
It was. They did like this cool like parade through town. They still had like jousting areas, but it was like the whole backdrop of like the village just made it feel a little more real. They didn't really have like
Yeah,
bleachers and things like that. Like
right.
just a little bit more of a natural vibe, but very cool.
We went to a only other Renfest we've been to is one outside of Denver, and
Right. Yeah, I was gonna say
that was a
Colorado.
lot. Yeah, that was a lot like what we're familiar with, but I just like the setting of it. The environment. It's kind of
Yeah.
hilly, tree cover. That's all sort of nice. I will say we have better food, more food, more mead, all this sort of thing. So some people were looking
Nice.
for cheese curds and not finding them. It's like, well, it's not
Priorities, man.
universal. Yep.
Priorities. We know where it's at.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Castle Impossible.
Mhm. Yeah, other than
Anything
that, I
else?
mean, I haven't been able to get to much other than our 2 shows, our double shows, they've taken up my time. Plus, I've been watching a little bit of the World Cup too, so yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
busy.
Yep. I just know that
Poor
we're
Team
out of it now.
USA, rip. Yep.
Yep. Hmm.
Sorry, guys.
How many teams
It
are
was,
left?
uh, 8? Are
Okay.
we at 8? Let me just
I guess I'm
remember.
rooting for Norway if they're still in it. You know,
They are. Oh my gosh, somebody compared, uh, Holland,
to
their
Majin
player,
Buu.
not yes! And I was like, "John, I should send you this," but I was like, in the back of my mind, I also was like, "I bet John has it."
Yep, I have seen it. So okay, well that's very good.
Oh, yeah, it's the
Yeah, I
quarterfinals. Norway's oh god, Norway's gonna play England. Dare you. Ooh,
when's that
that's gonna be a
happening?
really hard one for me to watch. France just beat Morocco today.
Okay, when's the
Um,
Norway England matchup then?
yeah, so I was just trying to
Oh
look.
wait,
Uh,
oh, seven
Saturday.
eleven. Yeah.
Yep,
Okay.
Saturday. Yep, Spain
Okay,
and
so that
Belgium are
and
tomorrow, and Saturday is a double header with Norway and England and Argentina and Switzerland.
right. Okay. Okay. Well, Conor McGregor is also back um on Saturday in the UFC.
Oh, okay,
So
I was trying to figure out the
yeah,
segue in your brain.
yeah. So it's just like others could because we were gonna watch the UFC thing, and then so we were like, oh hey, but did you know that Argentina and Argentina and
Sweden?
whoever are
No,
playing
Switzerland. Switzerland.
Switzerland, and it's like no, I did not know that. So it's competing sporting events going on the same day.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Okay. Well, yeah, I haven't been watching. I have not managed to watch any more of the World Cup. We've been. I rewatched season one of X-Men '97 just in like
Solid.
it. That's been over the course of a while. It's just what we put on while we're lifting, and so now we finished that. We managed to finish it before the season premiere of season two, and now we're watching through the original series as well. We
Nice.
I
I
just
did
sort of
that
picked the
too.
spot. Did you? You watch some of it?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's like um I know we'd watched quite a lot, but I don't know where we left off really. So I sort of picked a spot that seemed right, and picking up from there, we watched the like basically it works out well. Apocalypse, a couple
Mm,
apocalypse episodes is kind of where we started. So
perfect.
yeah,
I will only say this. This is no spoilers, but I will say this now and then I won't say it later. I think it's good that you rewatched season 1. First of all, it's obviously like a quick, breezy rewatch, but the recap that they gave us in episode 1 was stupid. It was bananas too short. Like, it covered almost nothing of last season. I was like, "This is genuinely actually embarrassing that you're calling this a recap right now." It
okay,
recapped nothing of, like, many things that happened, and also didn't, like, just recap the last episode before, you know what I mean? If you couldn't do the
right,
whole season, just do, like, the episode or maybe 2 before this so we can slide right in. This was, I don't know, a fever dream that somebody
okay,
cooked up. It was so weird.
okay. I do. I mean, I do not remember it, but I guess it's just because I didn't need it, so I
You
didn't. It
did.
just
You
flew
did. It
right
would have
by.
been useless to you. Absolutely useless. Like, luckily, I just
Okay.
love the series and remembered it, but if you didn't, ugh,
Yep.
SOL.
Well, another series I'm loving so far is Widow's Bay. That's the other one I've been
Yeah.
watching now. Get a little bit of horror comedy sort of thing and so we're 3 episodes into that. It's been a lot of fun on Apple, and I feel like I've said it a few times on the show. But I think maybe it's from the card stream and stuff, just that I roll credits on 007 First Light. It's still in my notes
Yes.
for this episode, so that's been a little while ago, but Waiting
I
for
think
the
worth
DLC.
mentioning.
You know, yeah,
Worth
waiting for the
mentioning.
DLC and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, that's all that's been going on.
Ooh,
Let's.
ooh.
Oh,
Sorry, speaking of James Bond, I saw 2 other
okay.
things that relate one to James Bond, but both to you. Somebody posted a meme about if you had to pick the worst actor to be James Bond, who do you think it would be? And I was like, that is a challenge we've never considered. We're always on the lookout for like, who's the next one? Who's the most likely? Who's the best? Like, who are our, dark horse fun candidates, you know?
Is it
But I never
worst that
considered.
is feasible, like that could possibly happen, or just
No,
plain
the worst. Though I think the caveat was they have to be alive.
okay?
Do you know what I mean? They can't be like an actor who's long dead that, but the only caveat is they're alive right now and could physically play Bond
Uh,
because they are alive and an actor.
I
That's it.
think I think you have to tack on that it would be someone that which is the worst actor to play James Bond that meets the requirements to be James Bond. Because otherwise I could say, well, I could pick some kid. I'd be
You
like,
could.
right. I mean, but then it's just like, well, I mean anyone
Somebody
that but
somebody threw up Gilbert Gottfried, and I was like, "Oh my lord." I haven't thought about him in a hot second, but I cannot imagine his voice saying Bond, James Bond.
uh-huh.
But it
Mhm.
was funny, and it
Mhm.
was technically
Mhm.
possible.
Yeah, still alive. It'd be like Seth Rogen, you know. The really bad. Really, really bad.
Yeah. See,
Hmm.
I love how, like, different people's answers are, because you have a whole range of possibilities. I feel like if you wanna pick the best Bond, like, there are, like, similar characteristics of actors, so there's, like, a pool that you choose from. But, like, the worst, it's like everybody has a different view of what might be the worst or what might be, you know, the most unlike Bond. So I think
Mhm.
it's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure it'd be fun for all the people named too, whoever the big top list ones, because like basically you think, okay, who is the least cool and suave person you can think of? Go.
Right.
Uh,
I feel like some actors, like, I don't know, there are certain roles that if somebody said I would be the worst to play that, I'd be like, "That's fair." I'm
sure,
self-aware enough to be like, "That's super fair." But I'm sure other actors, it
but
would
the
be a sting.
worst, I mean, that's a high bar or a
It's a
low
high
one.
bar,
However you
sure.
wanna, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Hmm.
sure it would sting a little, but, you know.
Yeah. Like, it could be like John Goodman, you know.
Yep.
Um, mhm. But then like someone interesting like Jeff Bridges. Just be kind of a fun comedic take that I
I
don't
think
want him to
so.
cast this, but
They call me
yeah.
Bond, Bondarino,
Yeah, he'd
Bubba,
be
Jimbo.
hmm.
So yeah,
I
I
well, I
I
yeah,
thought of
I like
that.
it. I would
Just
make my
those.
list of like requirements that it must for if I was casting Bond, what they'd have to be, and then try to find actors that fit
Like,
those
oh,
categories but are
okay.
still awful. Like would
Sure,
still
sure.
be terrible picks.
Okay.
It'd be
Well,
like
you make your list and we'll set ourselves a challenge.
be like the example that comes when you were talking about it very first. I'm like Tom Holland because he was in the
I thought it
talks,
I
right?
know. I thought
So
about that
it's
too.
like he technically could fit
Mhm.
enough into the box,
Right? Or I was
but
thinking
we
about
would
our
not want
discussion
it.
of Jacob Elordi and how, like,
Right.
how problematic that would be. Like, he, like, again, not his acting per se that's a problem for
Right.
me. It's like other things about him. So,
Hmm.
including his height.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's stuff like um, someone like Jacob Elordi with acting or whatever, like maybe nails the performance. That's possible. It's sort of like I wasn't gonna go to Fantastic Four, the movie,
Mhm.
in
I
part because
remember.
it's like, why did you cast Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic? What a miscast.
Mhm.
And
And yet
I understand, like, as a casting director, you'd be like, why wouldn't you start with people that kind of look a little more like him? Just just do
right.
that. That's just the starting point. You have a bajillion candidates, actors throughout the world. Let's narrow it down to the actual criteria first, and then we'll go from there.
Mhm.
But, you know, being they didn't do that and didn't go that way, Pedro Pascal nonetheless knocked it out of the park. Like he
He
had
did.
the character just right. And it's
Yep.
kind of like Daniel Craig coming in as James Bond. He's like he was more different than we'd had in ever. Blonde, the blonde Bond. Oh my god.
Mhm.
And
Uproar. I did not like it at first.
mhm. So it's, you know, that's why I'm willing to, within reason, wait and see, someone's cast. I'm like, okay, well, I'll give them the chance within reason, and sometimes it pays off. So,
Yep.
yep. Well, is there a good payoff for House of Dragon episode 3 in season 3? Is this
I yes-ish, even though it's Chris described it as a nothing episode, but I don't think it's a nothing episode.
mm,
I just think it's like an incremental episode. It's I mean, we had so much action our first 2 episodes. We had Battle of the Gullet, we had, like, this
yep,
impossible takeover of King's Landing actually working despite all the
yep,
obstacles that kept popping up, and this one, there's nothing big until there is, again. This episode was
right.
was slower paced, and I think you need that because it's an examination of what happens when you achieve something that you've been fighting so long for. Are you kind of out of step with actually achieving the goal? Is just like fighting all you're about now? Because that's gone. If you've made that your whole personality, you know, you're going to be ill equipped when you achieve your goal and you have to do the next thing, which is deliver on the promises you made while trying to achieve the goal. So, yeah, I actually liked this episode, even though I think obviously action wise, bit on the low level.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah. Um yeah, well, I wasn't expecting the whole season to be nonstop war,
Right.
right?
We'd
So
complain about that, right?
yeah, we would complain about
Like
that, absolutely.
it
It's
would
got to
just be
have
too
its
one note. It's got to have its ups and downs. It's got to have ebbs and
yep,
flows.
yep. So I like this. It's because me as an audience member is sitting there thinking, what is this for again? Is this really just, is this for your name? Is it because, just you think of all the loss at this point, personal loss for someone like Alicent or Rhaenyra, and then loss of life, obviously, for the soldiers
Mhm.
and the people and everyone else. For what exactly? And then we see that stuff like the blockade is in part what's making the people starve. It's like, and
Mhm.
we understand, like, hey, Rhaenyra and her ilk are probably a better set of people than at least those little shits that end up having to take over.
Mhm.
So right, it's we can see it as like a benefit there, but yeah, at what cost? So I
Mhm.
liked this sort of very, I don't know. We spend a lot of time watching Rhaenyra having trouble handling this,
Mhm.
and I thought that was good and realistic. It's not just hey, I'm on the throne and things work out well for me now. It's
Yeah.
it's it's all the things that you're inheriting from the previous administration, which is interesting. I think they said the word administration or the administration or regime, you know,
Something,
but it
yeah,
just
something to that
felt
effect.
I felt particularly modern. It just stood out to
Yes.
me or whatever, you know. But it's you know, the rat catchers are gone, so you got rats all over the place, and you got the people that don't have any food. Well, that wasn't part of your blockade. We don't have any money. So all the like piling
Mhm.
compounding issues. Um,
Yes.
I thought it was you know, a good look at those things, and then Rhaenyra probably stumbling where you know she needs all the allies at this point she can get,
Mm. Yeah.
and it might start losing some of them. So yeah.
Yeah, I liked, to your point, like the episode pointing out both of Aegon's, his choices, his short-sightedness. He killed all the rat catchers, so now we have rats everywhere, which was extremely short-sighted. But then Rhaenyra, she enacts this blockade, which obviously she was doing to damage the high towers and also rile the people up against them. But now she's
Yeah.
having to deal with like the consequence of that choice, which worked out for her in the short term, but now in the long term is coming back to bite her. So I
Mhm.
loved the way this episode kind of subtly took a look at everybody's choices and the down the line consequences. And it said, you did this in the moment, but what's happening now? Now that you have to own these choices and fix some of them, even, even the ones that weren't yours, what are you going to do about it? And Rhaenyra
Yep.
didn't have magic solutions on day one. She had some good ideas, and we started to see her kind of pull it together. But then, like you said, she made other missteps, offending key allies that, I'm not sure she really needed to do.
Mhm. Yeah, so let's talk about that then with, Corlys and
Yeah.
his 2 sons, because that's who obviously we're referring to here, like, it was a big
Yes.
one, and, um, y do you buy her, like, you know, "People I'm under a lot of scrutiny right now, and I can't be"
No,
so,
I
like, what do
don't.
you feel it is more? Like, what's her
I
is
mean,
that her
I buy that.
legitimate rationalization or
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know. I'm not really sure about this choice for her. Because, I mean, initially she really was pushing for Corlys to acknowledge like Bela and Rhaena as his
right,
heirs. She didn't even, and not that she wanted to take anything away from Luke necessarily, but other people were like, they're right there. Like they're definitely your legitimate granddaughters. They're a direct line, even if they're girls, like who cares? Like just do it. So and she was very on board with that. So, part of me was like, is she gonna bring Bela up as like an alternative? But then she didn't. So I was like, I'm not really sure what the game here is to deny Alan and Adam and have them not, kind of secure the house for the future. Because otherwise
mhm,
she's really kind of cutting them off and
yep,
and kind of weakening their power, but they're her ally. She could use
yeah,
their not only their direct immediate support, but future support, future signals that their house is still strong and still going even after the triarchy, you know, destroyed their stronghold. So I actually feel like acknowledging Alan and Adam would have been a stronger sign rather than what she did. And I'm
yeah,
just not sure I saw any real justification on her part.
yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to hear what because you know, part of me is thinking, who really gives a shit? You know, a lot of the people and other people in court and all this, like they're gonna understand the way this stuff works, you know,
Right?
and all the, you know, and obviously, right, you give them an inch, you know, and then someone else has a claim and they use it to take that. But really, it's who still is strongest and takes it. And
Yep.
like if they're good to the people, they perceive you as they're going to help you. they'll have your back. Like they're not going to care so much that, oh well, technically, the lineage here is this splintered. It should be this other person, even though they'd be horrible for our situation or for me. Or like
Mhm.
it's the people are just not that. I don't envision the people being that uh, set on ceremony and
Yeah.
versus over there just improving their shit life, when it
Yep.
comes to the population. And
Yeah,
again, people in
give him
court are
food
they're
and
just going to do whatever they can to, it's
right.
always to try to.
It's always gonna be a jockey for power, so, like,
Yeah.
at least this would be an issue worth fighting for rather than something dumb. And yeah, like, the people she did exactly what she should do. She went out and fed them. She, like,
Yep.
made real visible gestures. And so, I think that's the good start that you have. I mean, again, was it perfect? No, but was it good? Yeah. It's it's
Hmm.
it's a good start.
Yep.
So yeah, so the fact that she didn't have any alternatives for Corliss, she just said she wouldn't do it, or maybe she would do it later when things are calmer. I was just like, no, you have to have a viable alternative. And he almost died in the Battle of the
Yeah.
Gullet.
Yep. Could be over
So if
any
he
minute that
dies,
he's fighting for her cause.
well, and if he dies, what happens? What happens to Driftwood?
Yeah. Yep. It's crazy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
So
think it's important. It was a big misstep, and he let her have it. It's
and
like,
yeah, he let her have it, and everybody knew it. Like Damon's face was just like, ooh, like everybody around her just was like, this isn't the thing.
mhm,
It was so good. Yeah,
well,
I
and
loved
then
Corliss's speech too, where he
yeah,
just was like,
right,
everybody knows about your kids. Everybody knows.
yep, yep. It was bold of him, but it's true. And
Mhm.
I don't know. Do you see him? I mean, there's no other way to go, right? Do you see him splintering somehow away?
Yeah,
I
I was
mean, he's
just
not going to be like, I'm going to help the high towers now
right. I
after
was just
this. They're
thinking
not gonna.
about that. I don't see him changing sides, but I could see him just being like, "Bye.
Just pulling out. Yeah.
Yeah, just I'm gonna go rebuild my house, and I don't care. I'll defend it,
Hmm.
and that's what I care to do with the rest of my days." Because he's not
Hmm.
young, and
Right.
he definitely, had a good scare during the Battle of the Gullet, where he definitely could have died. So yeah, so as much as I like, you know, give no shits, Corliss, it's not gonna be great for Rhaenyra.
Yeah. Yep. Then the other person that she's, maybe more rightly so, but is frustrating some is Damon.
Mm,
Because Damon's kind of there, like, what are you talking about with this? Like, we're like gods to the people. We have however many dragons, like 5, 6 dragons, whatever, like we can take what we want. Like, let's go.
oh,
Let's,
Damon.
let's, and, you know, I liked her response. It's kind of like, well, let's get this sorted first before we, go crazy here and conquering
Yeah.
the world or something. But he has a point. A lot of people, it wouldn't be surprising at least to like fly up to your enemies and like demand tribute, to fill the coffers back up. Is like, you did not support us in our, rightful claim to the throne. So hand it over and get your money problem fixed,
Mhm.
with dragons behind you. And
Yeah, Damon's gonna be a problem. I see how he feels in this moment. They've just won a victory, and so he's
mhm,
riding the high.
yep.
But that strategy, I think, only earns you more animosity, you know? and more
Right.
problems, potential battles to fight, which he wouldn't have a problem with because that's his jam. Like, it's so clear in
Right.
this interaction that he's always looking at the horizon. He is not going to be content in King's Landing for long. So it feels like he and Rhaenyra are headed for another split at some point. Not in a bad way, just in a like, I can't sit still. I need to go places and do things and fight battles kind of way. But yeah, I mean, I think Rhaenyra has a problem with all of that because King's Landing and some measure of peace is what she wants. You know,
Sure.
I don't she's not like forever looking for the next battle, the next war to fight, the next person to toy with and, cuz Ormond's on the screen and his and Damon's interaction was fairly amusing and Damon clearly enjoyed toying with him. But that's not Rhaenyra. So they're definitely headed for, major headbutting in the episodes to come, I think.
Yeah.
Though the end of this episode might shift that a little bit, and we can get to that later.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's a big thing. So those are kind of I feel like her concerns, her relationship issues, that are, for people that are close and important here. But
Mhm.
well, you know, the other big element of this show, and like you say, if it's an episode that feels nothing burgerish, you
Mhm.
certainly by the end it can't feel that fully
Yes.
because Demons keep, reminding Rhaenyra, you're gonna have to kill the kid. You're gonna have to kill him. Gonna have to
Yep.
kill him. And
Yep.
eventually, it's like, okay, we'll send him to the wall. This remaining
Such a good
Targaryen that was
solution.
sent off as a ward of the High Towers here a long time ago. Allison's another son of Allison's, and get a chance to meet him. And then that's our big shock is like, hey, this is not my son. Imposter.
Yeah.
So what's Ormond Hightower playing at here?
I don't know. I mean, there's gotta be some measure of just pure joy in pulling one over on Damon and Rhaenyra.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, obviously our opening conversation, our opening and closing, interactions with Ormond Hightower are very different in this episode. The
Mhm.
opening, Damon's got the upper hand. He's toying with him. He's just demanding things, and Ormond
Smug.
is like, "You got it.
Mhm.
I can't do much." Hands over his ward without question, surrenders without question. Um, yeah. So, and then we come and we think, obviously we think he's been beaten, and then at the end, we get this huge reversal of our assumptions where, oh my God, this is not a Targaryen. This is just some random kid that got his hair dyed and was sent away. The real Daron's with Ormond Hightower, also with his dragon, which that was the stupidest choice ever. Like, why did Damon take this kid and not bring his dragon?
See, I was under the impression that they would have had to. Of course you'd have to. The
Right.
dragon is
But then
coming with the kid.
at the end, they were like, "Oh, like Daron, there's been sights of a young dragon who's been threatening to, burn the city, and now they're locked inside the city." And I was like, "Who didn't take the dragon? How in the world did that work?"
Yeah.
So I
Seems
don't really
like
know what happened there. That seemed like a big plot hole, though.
it does. It does. It really does. I mean, it because that's see, that seems like a thing in the writers' room where they're like, this is what we want to have happen. Won't this be fun?
Hmm.
But the reality is like, well, if the kid was gonna come ride the dragon back, the
Right.
dragon's not gonna accept him. Who's this kid?
Right.
Right? So then the jig is up. You know.
Exactly.
So then it's like, well, we'll just count on people don't notice that or
Right.
something.
Or like if they explained it like, "Oh, we separated him from his dragon so he couldn't do anything stupid," you still would have brought the dragon.
Yeah, you'd still put the dragon
Dragons are way
in your
too
fleet.
valuable
You have
to
your
just, like, let one be running around.
well, okay. So where is the dragon supposedly running
So
around?
the dragon is now with Ormond Hightower at Tumbleton, which is the stronghold that they whatever town that they've attacked and they're now barricading themselves in, along with the real Daron.
Mhm.
Daron? Darren.
Darren, yeah.
They're with him.
So the dragon keepers came from there? Like, the guy that comes in and is, like, warning of this or whatever? The guy that's
Yeah,
all
whoever, like, gave this warning
mhm.
is, about Ormond Hightower and where he's been spotted, and also the young Targaryen lord and a young or a young dragon, not a wild dragon, said
Hmm.
that they were at Tumbleton. And it was like a triple oh crap for me because obviously one, Darren's there, his dragon is there, and I mean other spoiler characters that we really haven't talked about. Hugh's wife and kid are there. So it was a
Hmm.
triple like oh shit moment for me. I was like, there's so much happening now with this announcement.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I kinda wanna watch the some of the interviews for this episode, see if they have any better explanation,
That
anything
would
that
be good.
satisfies because, yeah, big misstep, and just doesn't seem plausible if
It
he would
doesn't.
take the kid
Given
and not
how
the dragon.
valuable dragons are, that there's no way they would take Ormond's ward, who's a Targaryen, but leave him the dragon,
Right.
even if
Mm,
it was young. I mean, it was tiny when we saw it on the
sure.
battlefield. It was young, but there's no way.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, it's lot there's other things we can go into, but I think we covered the big things here, it's like Rhaenyra
Mhm.
having trouble, adjusting to, being queen here and all the problems that she's inheriting and new problems and stuff, and then what she's doing to fix that, and then some of the things she's doing to mess that up,
Mhm.
and then the big switcheroo and ploy here, and we see that, Alicent's being kept, you know, but, is trying to sort that out. She's not particularly happy, but she's maybe coming to terms with her status, and yeah, we kind of it definitely wasn't one of those episodes. Sometimes you might jump to, like, we didn't jump to Aegon or anything like that. We didn't
Right,
go back to um Aemond either. And
right.
so we really just it was pretty focused, which I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine with. But
Yeah, I mean, we need an episode like this, to kind of cut all the excitement and cut all the, big battle building because you need the slope down to ramp back up, and that's what the very end of this episode did. I mean, Rhaenyra's
mhm,
face as she's standing over the burning high tower banners says, "Shit's about to get real again."
yeah, exactly like that. That was a quote.
It was. There's a quote directly from her eyes to my soul.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Okay, well, unless there is anything extra you have to
Mhm.
say, we should move on and get into X-Men 97. Yeah. Da-na-na-na-na-dum. Very
Yes.
nice. Um, a show that, again, I never thought would happen.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? And I'm excited because when we were wee little folks, it was
This is about as good of a recap as you're gonna get from this
right here, this
this
board.
vision board
This
right here.
yeah. Yeah. No, it's I mean, we've talked before how we love the 90s X-Men cartoon. They did such a good job of adapting different
Yeah.
comic book stories, and, like,
Mhm.
they made stuff work despite having like a low budget, so the animation wasn't great. And now we have a series back that's a direct continuation. Season one was pretty fantastic in a lot of
Mhm.
regards. And now here we are in a season two. And um, you know, X-Men is pretty dramatic, and I think they're holding true with that drama, so far in next in the season two. I wrote season three here in the notes. That's throwing me. Wrong
Well, I
season.
mean, we're in House of the Dragon season 3, so, I mean, you can be
Yeah.
forgiven.
hmm Okay, so you were saying that there's a lame recap at the beginning of this one for
It's
what's
terrible.
happened. I don't know if I can do any better in like a little blurb. Basically, okay, spoilers.
Yep.
X-Men 97, all of it. Here it is.
Yes.
So basically, we have the X-Men that no longer have Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier is not there, and he has willed everything to Magneto, their
Mhm.
longtime rival, enemy, but
Frenemy.
past friend, yeah, frenemy of Charles Xavier. This is certainly a shock, but through various uh, a trial that he shows immaculate restraint and stuff, he's sort of given a chance again
Mhm.
on the world stage to right some wrongs and enact Charles's vision. So
Mhm.
the test of season one is sort of like, can Magneto go along with Charles Xavier's vision of the world versus his
Mhm.
own? Like that we can coexist. Um,
Mhm.
Getting back to that in a moment, we have to deal with drama. We get a little explanation of like Jean Grey isn't Jean Grey. She's
Mhm.
actually a clone, comes known as
Mhm.
Madeline Pryor, but that's who Scott actually had a son with, Nathan,
Yes.
aka Cable, who
Yes.
Mr. Sinister, they interrupt. He's been infected with the techno organic virus. They have no choice but to send him to the future in the hopes that there's a cure in the future for this and
And
then
save
never
his
see him
life, yep.
again. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, what a horrible mind fuck for everyone with
Yep.
that's involved with Gene, Scott, and Madeline.
And when the real
What
Gene
do you
turns up again.
yeah, what do you do? What do you that's just terrible. So we go through a whole ordeal with that. Meanwhile, they're setting up Genosha. They're getting Genosha, the place for mutants, is setting up
Yes.
a
Their safe
home there.
haven.
Yep, they're being recognized by like the UN or whatever,
Right, they're gonna be an
and
independent nation.
yep. But there are people that are not so excited for this mutant human coexistence thing, just as like Magneto's not been a big fan of it. He's not a big fan of it because he doesn't think that people will let it happen. And that seems to be the case here as well. We get a giant like master mold kind of thing, Sentinel attack Genosha and kill
Ugh.
a lot of a lot of mutants, including one
Mm,
beloved Remy LeBeau, aka
mm,
Gambit.
it
I
hurts.
mean, it, and to me, the
So
more
epic, but it hurts.
yes, it was epic. Remember me kind of thing, and then to me, the more emotional bit, it got me in season one. The first time I watched it was how Leech had
Yes.
told was talking to Magneto, and he's like, "You don't have to fear again," and it's
Yeah,
like
his
in
little
the
eyes.
bubble, it's holding back the attack, and he's like, "Don't be afraid, my child," and then boom,
Yep,
so good, so
yep,
good. That's S tier right there.
yep.
Um, so we find out the behind all this stuff, you have Mister Sinister conniving along with I'm blanking on his name right now. The our kind of big bad for the series.
Oh, yeah.
Um, can't think of his name. Oh, I was almost there. He's played by a potential Bond actor, probably out of the
Yep.
running at this point now, but, Bastion, that's what it is.
Bastion.
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Where basically, the Sentinels are always evolving, and he's managed to evolve people, like kind of meld machine and man, and he can turn on people to control them, as a human Sentinels, and that's sort of our final confrontation, and the you know president and stuff is sort of talked into, because Magneto's finally had it. It's like, I'm done, finally had it.
Yep, yep.
Like messes with the Earth's, electric magnetic field, and he's bringing the island into the sky and whatever. So they're gonna attack it with a nuke and all the sort of thing. And I'm getting a little more rough in my explanation here,
That's
but
okay. I mean, I think those are big
it's
broad
kind of the big.
brushstrokes. The only other I think major plot point is Professor X isn't dead. We find out he's
Right. Yes.
he's traveled across across space, and is, living out his life as part of a different alien civilization. Realize it and like almost permanently leaves them, but realizes, it can't do it. So he gets back to his X-Men and, comes upon like some of the less finer moments, post Magneto's, turn towards his vision, and now he's turning away from it. So
Yeah.
like that's a conflict, that, and obviously a big plot point for everybody, that they were just like, you're alive and we thought you were dead, and how dare you betray us and abandon us. So there's definitely some friction there,
Yep.
which,
Yep.
yeah, none of that was addressed in the recap.
So there's a lot more to get into. There's more stuff with Cable and all that stuff. But getting into season two, basically the way this ended is the X-Men were trying to stop the giant like island and ship from crashing into Earth. And they have a good plan to do so. It seems to work, but then they're sort of zapped
They're
away.
ripped out of the sky, yeah.
Yeah, and so people they don't know where they are or whatever, and the season closes with they've been scattered through time in a couple various
Yes.
places. And so season 2, that's
Two
where we
two
sort of pick up.
particular points, yeah.
Yep, so we've got one group way in the past in like Egypt, and one group way in the future. And so we've got one group that's around during the height of Apocalypse's reign in the future,
Mhm.
and one witnessing the beginning of Apocalypse. And what
Yes.
I do like that early on here, we have this woman that in the future, the X-Men meet along with, Scott and Jean meeting their son, who's like a teenager, Nathan at this point, and they're kind of there to help shape and push him in a
Mhm.
direction. And, that was kind of cool to see. And then the woman that's there that was she's the one that was responsible for pulling these people through time into specific places. So I thought that was kind of cool. We got that explanation. I thought that was something
Mhm.
they're going to make us wait a long time for or something. It's like, no, here's a mutant with these abilities. And it's just not one of her attempts to, it's like, well, if the X-Men die there, that might be a bad deal. Let's pull them and see if we can use them to stop Apocalypse. Or in the
Yeah.
future, if the past doesn't work, to raise the one and direct the one that will stop Apocalypse, or she thinks
Yeah,
will.
I like her, two birds, one stone. I mean, really, it's we got to save the X-Men, because as we learn in the first couple of episodes, the 90s are like apparently the most dangerous time for them, when they might, I'm assuming it just means they get the closest to, nearly being wiped out that they'll ever be.
Yeah,
Um
right.
and so not only are we going to prevent that, but we're also going to pull them to specific points in time to try to like prevent many other atrocities and tragedies and potential, screw ups of the future. So I like the double whammy, for
Mhm.
Mother Ascani, I believe.
That sounds right, yeah. Mhm.
Um, so yeah, just it just was like you said, I like that we got that right away, and we just got like, here's why we're doing what we're doing. Sometimes
Hmm.
straightforward is the best.
Yep. So, I thought, this episode dealing with the future, I was interested in it, but it's not, I guess it's a little, I was a little underwhelmed in the sense that I remember the cartoon and stuff back in the day and
Sure.
the original series and how terrifying the different sentinels were and machines that were at the command of Apocalypse. And I felt like for this being the height of Apocalypse's power, these X-Men probably should have been like in way deeper trouble. You had
Sure.
people dispatching machines quickly, and even his horsemen. Like that's a
Yeah.
big deal when he imbues power and creates his four horsemen of the apocalypse. Like they're not ones to be trifled with, and they kind of. I mean, I know we're dealing with powerful X-Men here, but it's just over the course of like two encounters,
Yeah.
they've got that dealt with and wiped. And enough to the case that Apocalypse leaves the time. So I just thought that was all too easy. I feel like we could have spent several episodes probably dealing with
Mhm.
the struggle of being in the future here. But their other problem is like they're waiting to go back in time because they can go back in time. But it's like, well, we should wait because we got to get this. What do
Sure.
we do with our son? There's a little confusion there, or whatever. It'd be make more sense to have to spend time if you're stranded there.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
know.
funny. I feel like I had the opposite judgment that or like the opposite opinion that I liked the future storyline because I think I was resonating with Cyclops and Jean Grey's um struggle. They really are like, well, we're here, we're gonna prepare our son, but also like, can we just spend time with our son? Like, in the struggle of their choice of like, what if what we do is like doing the opposite thing, or like what if what we're sent here to do the thing. So I
Yeah.
liked their sort of moral quandaries, some of which were repeated in different ways when they travel in the secondary two episodes, the secondary pair of episodes when they travel back in time. Everybody's questioning like whatever choice I make, is it the right one? Is it the wrong one? Is it going to push somebody to the goal I want or away from? It's the beauty of time travel. Like you always second guess your actions.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, no, I liked the future storyline just I think because of the family drama, and maybe getting some resolution there. I also feel like it made more sense because their goal was to stop apocalypse, and it's just more straightforward. Whereas like in the past, you have to like change a
Yeah.
person and change their feeling, but you already know like their future. So how do you prevent a future? Like what's the magic bullet? Whereas just like fighting someone is fighting someone.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I always love the time travel stuff in here, but I was always tell me what your impression of the time travel is for X-Men. I
Sure.
always thought it was their thing was time is a linear one line thing.
Mhm.
And so if you Cable or Bishop or whoever goes back in time and does something, like they they're going back in the same timeline and it will affect the timeline moving forward. I mean, literally, when I go back and watch the old episodes, Cable is like talking to his AI, like, what is going on right now? And
Yep.
it's time like clearing up. It's like there's
Yep.
something has been changed in the timeline, and your friends are all going to be sucked up and erased and stuff because of what has happened has been adjusted. And
Yes.
versus the whole thing of like in Terminator or something, like when we covered the Terminator anime, that is more when you go back in time, you're going back in time in a timeline.
Yes.
But if you go back, if you come back here now, it might not be any different because you're not going back necessarily in this timeline. You're going
Right.
back in time. So you are fixing potentially a future for someone else, not for you. Is that so?
Yes.
But
Yes.
then there was conflict when
Well,
Bishop and Cable were talking. It's like, but in my time, like this has to happen. It's like, yeah, but in
right.
my time, but does it mean like in your just like specific time or in your timeline, as if in they're
Right.
different timelines?
Well, I mean, Bishop is a little bit different because, they were obviously talking about like you've gone back and fixed your own death. So I feel like Bishop is such like an outside entity because he's clearly died and somehow could still fix it according
Hmm.
to this, according to that sentence. Um so I wasn't certain that I could like count on what
Hmm.
exactly Bishop thought of time as a
Okay.
solid explanation for this kind of time.
Okay. Hmm.
But
I
yes,
saw
so
once.
like time in this is both linear but also not for certain people who can time travel. Whereas like in something like Terminator, you go back, you have a one-way trip. You don't get to go back and forth.
Right.
And
Yeah.
X-Men, there's obviously the possibility that you can move back and forth in a timeline.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, so they seem to have set rules, but they also kind of don't. Like Terminator has very set rules
Hmm.
about like you're going back and also there are fixed points in time. This X-Men doesn't, they talk as though things are fixed, but I don't know that that's truly the case or not.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, well, we can move to look at the past and we see, one of the, again, I love the cyclical kind of thing of time. Like you mentioned already, like, should we be doing this? Are
Mhm.
we supposed to do this? Like, if we
Right?
do this, is this what has always created the future we know or the
Or
present
or
we
are we
know?
changing it?
Yeah, or
Yeah.
is it gonna be different now? And, we see on the, like, temple that the ship that Apocalypse is entering, or soon to be Apocalypse is entering, a mural on the wall, and they're all there, the people that are there. So it's like,
Yep.
clearly, this has this has happened in the this has been known to have happened in the past from the future, and it's been enshrined on the
Right.
wall. So, but that begs an interesting question because spoiler,
Mhm.
Magneto is definitely a part of the future and he has
Yeah.
now been killed
In the past.
in the past. So something's different, right?
Yes. Oh, God. That was actually really sad. I mean, for as much as I didn't love Magneto in the first season, I mean, he had his big moments, obviously, like you were talking about earlier when he's protecting Genosha and he's
Yeah.
standing up for, mutants like Leech. I was also pulled in, but obviously he had other moments too where I was, you know, as a viewer mad at him. But boy, did he have an end, man. Just going out, saving an entire city from utter devastation and ruin and obliteration, taking all that power unto himself. And then after those heroics, more ignominiously meeting his end through Apocalypse, just like casually killing him.
Yep.
Heartbreaking.
So I have to say, my issue, so it's emotional, it's good, all that sort of thing. I
Mhm.
love Apocalypse. Apocalypse is my favorite X-Men villain. Because I've always thought it's so terrifying, and he's always
Mhm.
creating this, cool. Again, it's associated with Cable and this. So
Yeah.
I've just always been a fan of that. But I I thought they were underplaying Professor Xavier and Magneto's powers some.
Totally agree with you, especially Professor Xavier, especially him. I
Yes.
mean, Magneto had some moments where he really threw up some, fight. At least
Mhm.
it looked like he was trying. Professor X
Yes.
just wimped out. I really don't know what happened there.
I don't understand either, because so unless there's some context, some like something that's been set in the past, that would explain this better, because Professor Xavier is is one of the most powerful psychics to have ever existed.
Yep.
And even out in space in the Shi'ar Empire, he is still an impressive force to be
Yes.
reckoned with.
Yes.
And so you can't a brand new Apocalypse, or even before that, you can't
Right?
penetrate his mind when he's like distracted and being attacked by other people and stuff. I don't understand that.
Yep.
If there is a reason, someone please let me know, because all I'd hear is like he'd try to get in there and be like, "Oh, the hate.
The rage.
Oh, the
Yeah.
rage." Yeah, it's like that's not an excuse. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get the fuck in there and like rip some shit apart in his brain.
Yep.
Like while
Yep.
Magneto's like, slapping steel to his feet and slowing him down, and Nightcrawler's poofing, 'cause they had the X-Men there. Like, it's not just like, Rogue is a powerhouse, like they started with people, numbers, along with,
Yep.
again, two of the most powerful mutants ever to exist. I feel like this would be a time that they would overcome Apocalypse, either before he's Apocalypse or
Yeah.
newly formed, because they've stopped him in the future, and
Right.
like Professor Xavier says, we never defeat you or whatever, we never and
You
that's
never
right.
get him. Yeah.
He's always gets away. He's never like he's never killed. We can't imprison him, that kind of thing. But you foil him,
Yes.
and I don't know. Unsatisfied with that.
I fully agree with you. Fully agree with you. It felt like Professor X gave one or two half-hearted attempts to do something and then would just sit there and just be like, just
Hmm.
damsel in distressing it all over the place. And it was just kind of embarrassing.
You're telling me that Magneto, he all of a sudden he slapped him full of steel and launched him, across the continent or whatever.
Right.
So telling me that he couldn't slap a bunch of steel to hold him down momentarily while Rogue sucks up some juices.
Power and Professor X finally
Yep,
gets in that brain.
yep. He's like weakened. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Yeah.
So it's as emotional as it was and cool as all the stuff was to see Magneto do all the stuff. I have canonical issues with the power scaling here and stuff. So yeah.
Super agree. And I think for me, the what Magneto did with the ship and its devastation of the city kind of sits outside that, but the rest of it, do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because Apocalypse gets the ship going, Professor X is like, "Oh my god, it's coded to Apocalypse." It starts. So Magneto does the thing that he can do, and it's pretty damn impressive. So that
Yeah.
piece I get. It's the rest of it around it that I'm like, "Really?
Yep.
Really?"
Yep. They just made
So
him
yeah,
too
if we
OP too
were
fast.
yeah, if we were going back and re-sketching out this storyline, maybe the ship and Magneto's cool heroics would be the only thing I would keep out of all of that.
Hmm.
The rest would
You do
be kicked to the curb.
something where like, there's a struggle with the like Pharaoh, so Kang or
We're
whatever.
gonna cut.
And so there's some deal with like in the confusion of that, Apocalypse is born. The ship is going to blow up the place.
Yep.
Magneto's distracted trying to deal with that, and so like basically it would mean that Apocalypse could get away, but he wasn't, he would have to get away. It wouldn't
Yes.
be he would have to run.
He's not
And
triumphant as he is
right.
in this version.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it would
So,
make more sense. It would make more sense if, Magneto, they're doing the double team, Professor X and Magneto against Apocalypse, winning. The ship, does its thing, and they're like, oh my God, we can't let another civilization just get completely wiped out. You know, Professor X, because, empathy, and Magneto for his growing empathy, but also because he just watched Genosha get wiped out and he's got PTSD. So they try to deal with this. They're distracted, like you say, and you know their hold on Apocalypse slips and he gets away.
mhm.
Way more plausible.
Yep.
Even if he leaves some like horrible devastation, like Magneto's mortally wounded somehow, or Professor X is, or something
Yeah.
to show that this is like power, even though he's young. And it's going to be the
Yep.
start of him being so unstoppable.
Yep.
But yeah, the events did not make much plot sense, even if they did hit me in some feels.
Yep. Okay. So the other thing so this is sort of the big bookends, it's we kind of get the future and we see
Yeah.
where Nathan is sort of pushed and we get and Apocalypse going back. And then we sort of bookend again, jump to the end where we go back to the beginning and deal with his birth. In the middle, we have some interesting stuff like what's going on in our current time. And
Yes.
we have Cable putting together X Force. So when the episode opens, X Force, my mind's blown.
Oh,
My
yes.
mind's blown. So I did not expect that.
It was
That was
it was
pretty
a little bit of
crazy.
fun though.
Yeah, it was fun. Um, so I think that's cool. They got something to do. They got Jubilee in here. I wrote one of
Sounds
my
fun. Yeah.
notes that uh I think Jubilee's glow up is a bit much. Like I like Jubilee
Mm,
and she's going to be in the in the Marvel Rivals game, I think starting tomorrow.
fun.
So that's cool. I'm glad she's getting some extra appreciation. But I don't know, escaping and taking down a whole platoon and everything, and like, I don't know. It seemed a bit much to me, and like I bought more her in oh SPM Palpatine is in the Twitch chat, says he's a big Marvel X-Men fan. Welcome in. Let us know
Awesome.
what you think of the powers. If you're caught up on X-Men 97, what you think of the power scaling and between Magneto and Professor Xavier and Apocalypse and all that sort of thing. Um, yeah, I like Jubilee, but I liked in season 1 how they had her see her a future version of herself, and it's like, oh, this is where my powers can go. I thought that was
Yeah.
kind of cool. That implies some time to take to get there, or whatever. This just felt like all of a sudden she's a little too badass all of a sudden, and and having fun of it too, putting on the
Mhm.
headphones and
Sure. Blowing bubble
skating
gum.
around. Yeah.
I mean, I dug the scene, so I had less trouble with it. What I felt like maybe was the problem is that they didn't show time, because there's no way she just glowed up overnight. Like, you know what I mean? There was clearly time passing in this special X Force and X Factor, matchup episode, but they handled time poorly, because I could tell time was a little bit like jumping as we moved from the storyline, but I couldn't tell how much time. And so I think if we'd
Sure.
really had a sense of like the stretch between Cable's very initial recruitment and them, fighting X Factor, falling into the trap, Jubilee getting captured, taken to this horrible mutant detention center. How much time was in between all of that? Like, how long has they definitely referenced it when Cable was like, "Oh, every time Apocalypse, we think we have him, and you know, he slips through the fingers, and like this happened." So there was clearly time there. I just couldn't tell how much. And so if it was
Sure.
significant, I would buy this glow up even harder. I bought it because I liked it and I was willing to like let the time be stretchy,
Mhm.
but they could have been clearer about it.
Yeah. Um, ultimately, not a consequential moment. I think this will be okay, but um, but we get introduced to the two different teams. We have X Force and X Factor. I've not
X-Men,
read a
keep
lot
all
of
the X's
X.
straight.
I've not read a lot of X Factor, but I don't remember them being like put as a alternative by being put together by the government. There's like,
Sure,
here's a version of the X-Men that we can control and set up. I just don't remember that being the case.
sure.
Maybe I'm wrong. And I am sorry. I must have missed Thespian Palpatine's chat probably a long time ago. It said he followed
Oopsie.
26 minutes ago. So uh apologize there, but I would
Sorry,
like to
but
know.
welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. So that would be, I don't know. I'm interested if that's like it. That's our sort of guest appearance of X Factor, or if we get more. I'm guessing we'll get more.
I
More
would say
butting
more.
heads between X Force and X Factor. But um, X Force, it's very exciting that to see Psylocke here. That's cool. I love
Yes.
Psylocke. Um, that's fun. What do you think about X Factor and X Force and some of these characters and sort of Cable's plot here?
I mean, it's fun, but it's also just like it's so clear that it's a setup for whatever's gonna happen in the 90s. When we have Mother Ascani say like the 90s are a very dangerous time for the X-Men, we're clearly setting up like we're on the way to a big confrontation, and these are our building blocks to that. So I liked the episode. I thought it was really fun to introduce new characters, even though I was a little heartbroken because I thought, well, we need new characters because we lost some old ones. Um, but I thought the conflict was interesting. It's a way I think to keep the friction between Professor X and Magneto's visions for mutant human existence
Hmm.
or coexistence away in a or alive in a different way. So I enjoy the kind of variation on this theme that played out in the episode.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was just surprised kind of what they did with X Factor is like, so they're rounding up all these
Yeah,
people, but then they're rounding up
fair.
like pretty, you know, I don't know, seem like helpless
Mhm.
kids. I guess I don't know the backstory. Maybe they're just like oh, woe is me, and they're ready to gut you. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, but it seems odd because these are good people, multiple man, Polaris, Havoc, Havoc is Scott's brother. Jubilee had to get a little jab in there at him.
Yep.
So, I don't
Yep,
know.
she knows
I love
where
seeing
she's
them
a
all, but
teenager. She's a teenager, she knows where to cut you where it hurts.
yeah, I'm guessing that the X Factor team will, whatever conflict, they'll ultimately rise above or become
Yeah.
independent or like sort their shit out in some way. Like
Yep.
I have to imagine that's a plot
I
thread
would
that's
hope
going to
so,
happen
because
here.
yeah, that detention center was horrid, and I loved the sequence where, Jubilee not only busts them out. I had fun with it. It's a good soundtrack moment. I love the skates. Um, but, I thought it was important that, when Cable's like, "We can't take all these kids," and she's like, "Well, we're gonna." And she gets him on board and she's like, "Listen, it's not enough to fight Apocalypse. You have to offer an alternative. You have to plan for what happens after you fight for fight apocalypse. You have to build. It's, we're treating on similar themes in both of our shows. Like Hot D, we have Rhaenyra being like, I fought, I won. What do I do with King's Landing?
Hmm.
Jubilee's trying to point out to Cable, okay, you fight apocalypse, you win. What do you do? So
Yeah.
I really
Yep.
liked, this question consideration of like, you have to think about building, you have to think about creation. You have
Yes.
to offer an alternative, because not only will it help you with the next step, but it'll also help you recruit people to fight for you, to fight for that vision.
Yep. What else do we have to say? Anything on
That's
these? I
that's
mean, we
my
kind of
that's my
covered the big
magic
stuff.
magic thread, the tying in our 2 shows.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Um,
Um, let's see if there's anything else I really felt super strongly about with X-Men. Oh, I don't think so. I mean, I'm glad that we had the 2 and 2 episodes. I said this when we were unable to do our podcast earlier in the week. So we got episode 4. I like that we had a more
yeah.
rounding out of
Yeah.
past storyline, because ending it at 3 really felt like, what the hell is this? I really got cheated out of a storyline here. We got some maybe half-hearted attempts at changing um En Sabanur, I think it's Apocalypse's
Mhm.
pre-apocalypse name. But then we got this, huge attack from the Pharaoh, and oops, either everybody died or maybe they're sent back, to
Yeah.
the to
Right.
the to the 90s, or their time bracelets get messed with or whatever. But either way, it feels over. So I'm glad that that wasn't the case, and we got to finish out, our trek to the past.
Yep. Yep. Okay. Well, I appreciate the discussion because I'm having so much fun with it, but I still like these things are important. Like,
Yeah, agreed.
you gotta the power scaling and like there's a lot of you know, I recognize that, say you do superheroes fighting each other and you can rationalize one beating the other or whatever under all kinds of different circumstances.
Right.
The fact that you'd have Batman ever beat Superman is silly, but you make it work because of planning and whatever, plots and kryptonite and stuff. So you can make a lot of things work depending on your scenario you put them in. And so I think you have to take a lot of care in crafting that scenario. So if you're like,
Mhm.
okay, we're going to show the beginning of apocalypse and how that happens, you'd have to set the right circumstances to allow
Mhm.
that to happen naturally, plausibly, whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
And they didn't set the table properly.
Agreed.
And unless there's something I'm missing, someone please comment, let us know if there's something we're missing. Cause, you know, yeah, Apocalypse, greatest X-Men enemy, horribly terrifying. Apocalypse is eternal, but he's still not completely unbeatable.
Yep.
He he gets sealed away, he gets his mind messed with and has to
Mhm.
whatever. So there's options there. But
Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to maybe think of some, like, you know, excuse for the past, but really there isn't one,
mhm,
you know? Like,
yep,
they have some half-hearted attempts, but it's really just kind of, you know, they don't prevent it that well. Everything happens too easily. It doesn't really feel like they're in it, but then they shouldn't be surprised that he is Apocalypse. You know what I mean? If
yeah,
Professor X isn't really trying to stop it and really thinks it's just gonna happen because, they can't do anything about it, then he should already be prepared. It's not like they're caught unawares by his transformation into Apocalypse and don't know anything about him.
right,
So it doesn't make sense to be surprised to me.
Right. One other thing in this frame here reminded me is like I
Yeah.
also again there's so many years of X-Men comics. I don't know what kinds of things have been invented. I've only read, however many.
Sure.
But Storm harnessing the power of like a
Oh, the solar
star.
flare?
Yes. That's cool. I don't know that that's within her. I mean, she's incredibly powerful. I don't know that's within her power set. I don't know that that applies. Maybe
Mm,
she controls the forces of nature. I don't. I mean, what
right.
usually controls is like an like I don't know how they describe it. Elemental manipulation, but that's pretty
Yeah.
broad. Controlling the weather.
Yeah, I mean, she says she controls the weather, which maybe is, what she's always believed, but Mother Ascani is like, "Actually, it's more broad."
Yeah. So are they changing her? I mean, the thing, Storm is always funny because she's an
Yeah,
omega level mutant. She's
right.
super powerful. Like Magneto says, like you're one of the closest things to a god on Earth, and you're whatever. And she always just the other day I was watching the original series, and she's like there, and someone throws like a paint can at her or a bag of something, and she's like, ugh, and just gets knocked back and wilts. So she's like the magic caster from the back lines that's like spitting fireballs, but it's like really weak shields. If you
Sure,
get her, she's in trouble.
sure.
You know, yeah.
I
Alice's
yeah, I
glass
mean,
cannon. That's right.
I always feel like she has so much fear about her potential that she just really limits
Mhm.
herself.
Sure.
She's like, "I'm really comfortable with being a weather mutant. That's cool with me." You know what I mean? Not that that's not insanely cool and powerful because it is. Like I would love to be able to do that and we see her use that all the time to fight great battles, but it does feel like she's so locked into this is what I am and Mother Ascani's maybe just trying to like open her up to the possibility that you have untapped potential. You really should use it because it's not something to be feared all the time. It can do some good
Okay.
like in this scenario.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm just curious if they're changing their powers or if,
Yeah,
if they're
it's
adding to
totally a fair
canon or if
question.
if there's precedent.
Yeah, fair
Um,
question.
so one last thing, that's not X-Men 97, but it's X-Men or nonetheless, and that you really should read. I've talked about it on here, but
Yes, absolutely.
some people some people have issue with this book. I don't. You can have certainly people can have issue where it goes, how it keeps going. It's been since reset. This is like the beginning of the age of Krakoa. And I do think things got a little whatever down the way, but you don't have to read any of that stuff. You read this. It's by Jonathan Hickman. This is the collection of House of X and Powers of 10.
Right.
So both
House of
spelled,
X.
House of X and Powers of X, but it's House of X and Powers of 10. And Jonathan Hickman, this is one of the largest, like, big picture books in the comic world I've ever read. Um, Deep and thoughtful. It goes, you love timey wimey stuff. This goes through all different kind of eons, way in the past and the way in the future. You get sort of timeline things in here. I
Mm,
don't want you to
that's
see
nice.
what they say, but
Yeah. No,
you
it was
know,
blurry. I didn't really see it.
yeah, there is like, you know, I don't know, there's all these in between issue things that give this extra context and
Mhm.
detail on things. It's very like it makes you think. It gets like about the human evolution and where like a society like ours goes and how we ascend and like it's it's big brain, big topic, all out there stuff. So
Awesome.
I highly recommend it. If someone's just looking for like, I want some newer X-Men, something that's outside the classic storylines to read that is bananas and the art is great. It's House of X and Powers of 10. So, but you got to buy the collection so you can read it all in order, and you don't want to read one without the other. So,
Sure.
yeah. And there's Storm down in the lower right.
Indeed.
I suppose I'm on a smaller screen right now,
Yep. Nope.
so
You
I
got
have
it.
to
You
be
got
more okay.
it.
Yeah, but good stuff. I need to read it again, but
All
I need to
right.
read Dune too, Andrea. And you read James Bond.
Ooh, I
Did you
know,
watch the
right?
new you watched the new Dune trailer?
I started to, and then I got distracted. So I'm planning to do that tonight. I know you said you were
Okay.
worried. So I was like planning to really sit down and try to consume it to see what was going on.
Yep. Yeah. It made me like I need to pick up reading. Part of me is like I'm caught up with what the movies are going to be now, so I could
Sure.
just wait and watch this. Another part of me is like, nah, I have a lot of books to get through. I just keep
Mm,
going, be in that
yeah.
world, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, that's our X-Men talk. Dune, we have to wait a while for Dune talk. Probably be this December or whatever the movie's coming
Oh,
out.
I was just trying to look. Something reminded me about Dune Prophecy the other day.
Oh,
Late
like there's a
2026
what?
is when it's supposed to come back. Yeah, they officially finished wrapping filming.
Oh, that'd be nuts if Dune Prophecy and Dune Part
Dune.
3 came out
Yeah. I
the
mean,
same
hella some
quarter of the
marketing,
year. Yeah.
but we'll see. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
see. Yeah, possibly later this year.
Okay. Well, that'd be cool. That's
Yeah.
enjoyed that show a lot, and I really hope they can stick the landing on this movie. Like I've accepted that they're doing some stuff different, but
Yep.
like yeah, stick the landing, Denny. Denny Villeneuve, come on. You can do it because
Last
man,
one.
what a gut punch it will be. Like if you have like these, part 1 and part 2 and it's like yes, and then part 3 is like ah
Just a failure.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah. What if Lord of the Rings was that way? Can you imagine?
Oh
Fellowship of the
god.
Ring, spectacular. Two Towers, spectacular. Return of the King, what was
Meh.
that? Yeah.
Meh.
Yeah, meh.
I can't tell if it'd be worse to be meh or to be like epically bad.
To be epically
What
bad
would
would be
be
worse.
would it be more of a
Yeah.
letdown? Or if you're
Because
just like, I don't
because 2
care.
is not it's like it's so say the first 3 Spider-Man movies, right?
Mhm.
3 is shocking. And now I haven't gone back to watch it since, so, maybe my expectations would be there and be all right, whatever. But you can stop watching Spider-Man after Spider-Man 2 if you want,
Yes, you
right?
can,
You know? And
and you
you're
should.
not you're not stopping watching Lord of the Rings after Two Towers. You need
Right.
the final one. It is
True.
very clearly a middle piece, you know? Um, could you argue that you could stop watching the Dune movies after part 2? Is that a satisfying ending?
Mm, I mean, it's somewhere in between, you know what I mean? Lord of the Rings, like, you can't not watch the 3rd Lord of the Rings. Like, that's just it's impossible. You definitely can only watch 2 Spider-Man movies. You could only watch 2 Dune movies. It would be unsatisfying, but you could do it. I think you would have a vague sense that there's more.
Yeah. Yeah,
Do you
it'd
know what I'm
probably
trying to
be okay, I
say?
suppose, when I think
Like,
about
you'd
it,
be
you
you'd
know?
be okay, but you'd be sort of tickled by
Where does it go?
needing more. Yeah, but it's not impossible to say, like, "I could end here."
Mhm. Yeah. But the next one is so important for the point of his book, of his
I
story. Like,
agree with
but if
you,
you
but, like
but if you didn't
but if
know
you
it,
didn't
then
care
you
about
wouldn't.
that or, like,
Yeah,
didn't know, yeah, then
yeah,
you could stop.
yeah, okay. Alright, well, things we have coming up other than Dune, we have, our anime show, Ohio Anime, and,
Yep.
Ghost in the Shell started there, so maybe we start talking about that. We still have to talk about Free Rin on there as well, and
Yes.
who knows what else was happening. Um, and then on here, I'm not sure. Sometime this year, we got to talk Casino Royale. We got to watch that again for its anniversary. And wait, I don't know what I'm talking about. We're gonna be on this. Like this is all we can do to keep up. It's gonna be House of the Dragon and X Men
Yes.
7. So that's what.
And then probably Casino Royale in, like,
Yeah.
August
Right.
or something.
Yep. So yeah, not sure what I was on there, but so catch up on these shows if you haven't. Otherwise, yeah, you should
Yes.
you like, share, subscribe in all the applicable places. It's Popcast on the Rocks on podcast directories like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. There you'll get both shows, Popcast on the Rocks and Ohio Anime. And then when we occasionally do a podcast live and it seems like it'd be good enough in podcast form, that will show up there as well.
Indeed.
On We stream on Twitch and Rumble and YouTube and X, and so follow us any of those places. Again, Podcast on the Rocks. If you're only into anime, which I guess you could be if you're here for X-Men 97, it's adjacent. We could have done we
Animated.
couldn't be one of those shows. I couldn't be like we couldn't cover X-Men 97 on the anime
No.
podcast. But if you're only into anime, Ohio Anime is the channel on YouTube. You can check them out there. So check them out. Check us out.
Yeah.
If they're
That was very
different,
meta of you, John. Are
check
you a
them out
clone?
in the future. Yeah. Yeah. It's I'm much like Madeline Pryor. I'm gonna be change my name. Mm, yep. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us. Thank you for being here, Andrea. It was two great shows, lots of fun discussions there. So thanks, and see you everybody next time.
Sounds good. Cheers, everybody.